Hello guys, this is Brian here with a quick update. It's just a general update, and today's December the 22nd, and this Friday will be 6 weeks since my appendectomy. I had it on November the 13th, and I'm healing pretty good. I still have to wear the binder, obviously, for until January the 13th. That's when I can leave it off permanently. I have to work during the daytime. At nighttime, I can take it off. It can get tiring. You get tired wearing it every single day. So there's been a couple of days, a day or here or a day or two, I didn't wear it. You have to put on tight, and it just kind of feels suffocating, basically. Um, Also, no heavy lifting yet. I think maybe another 2 weeks I can start doing my exercising. When I feel, that's when I feel. I'm still a little bit tired. I went to work last Monday full time, so I'm still a little bit feeling that tired feeling, things like that. But other than that, pretty good. Except about 2 days ago, we were putting the Christmas tree up, and somebody moved the dining room chair into the living room to put the Christmas decorations on the Christmas tree. They were sitting down to do it and getting the Christmas lights hooked up and all that stuff. Well, the way they moved that dining room chair, kind of, I didn't see it coming out of the hallway. Boom! I hit it on my hip, and boy, did it hurt badly. The back of the chair, because it hit it exactly on the incision line. It hurt for 2 hours. Ugh, I almost cried because it was hurting really bad. But I took some Tylenol, and luckily I looked, and there's no bruise or anything, and luckily it didn't break the incision or anything like that. Luckily, but other than that, doing pretty good. Someone had asked me if my short-term disability paid me for my procedure, and the answer is yes, because it was considered medical necessary. Although on the disability form, it doesn't ask for a procedure code, it did ask for the diagnosis code, and the doctor put all the diagnosis codes, like the rashes and things like that. And that's all the detail he went into, and they did pay me um, on my first batch. So what I did as well, to be on the safe side, I sent in my letter of approval from my insurance company, just to be on the safe side, as well as the pre-authorization for the hospital stay, which my insurance company said okay for 4 days, but I was there for 2. Um, Weird thing is, my group plan doesn't require the doctor to do pre-authorization, but I guess it's just standard practice for them to do that anyway, to be just to cover them themselves, I guess. Um, some insurance plans are very picky about that. So always make sure your doctor does pre-authorization. They're supposed to do it. The provider's supposed to do it. But you always want to call your insurance company yourself, like the day before your surgery, to make sure they did do that. If your plan requires prior authorization or pre-authorization, wherever they call it. So I sent that paperwork in along with my claim form. And the person asked, "Do you do it before your surgery or afterwards?" Technically, you're supposed to do it afterwards. You're supposed to fill out the disability paper. Technically, you're supposed to do it when you become disabled. So therefore, afterwards. Now, your doctor may if the doctor's real nice and not too shitty, not too picky, some of them may do it like a day or two beforehand. But usually, you want to do it. You get them trying to do it the very first post-op visit that you have with them. That's what I did. Uh, of course, I faxed in the form for them to fill it out like a day or two before my visit, so it was ready when I went there. Um, and usually, the doctor did tell me I was going to be off for an exact maybe a month, up to 8 weeks off, depending how much skin they removed. That he did. He told me that the very first visit I saw him. So I was prepared to be off that long. And so they filled out the disability paper on when I went there for the very first post-op visit, and they did it like I think they wrote down 3 weeks, 3 weeks to a month off when I was expected to go to work. And of course, you have felt your part, the doctor fills out their part, and the employer fills out their part. So that's three components to a disability form, or forms, I should say. And the same person asked me, do you fax it in yourself or they do? Well, the answer is for AFLAC, I can't say for other disability companies, but the answer is you can do it either way. You can have your employer fax in their part, you fax in yours, or the doctor fax in their part. I don't like that scenario, and let me tell you why. Here you have two entities, your employer and your doctor, and you have to sit there, put a fart around and call each of these people, make sure they fax in something, and then you have to fax in or mail in something. So there's three components going on here. And AFLAC says I can fax in myself, all three components of the disability claim form, which I prefer that. So therefore, personally that the forms have been filled out and they got it. No need to call call two different people and make sure it gets done or everything like that. Some doctors do charge to fill out this form, some don't. Mine didn't charge the form because it's just a page and a half, and then really they just answered page 1. Page 2 is really for pregnancy complications, so they didn't charge me. Some doctors charge $25, and you know what's funny about that is usually the doctor don't really fill it out. It's really the nurse or the secretary really fills out and just stamps their name on it. Really. My gastric bypass doctor he didn't charge me, but he does charge $25. Back then, it turned out to be one, since it was just some, it was a complicated form, they didn't charge me. Since they're just little, AFLAC's forms are not complicated. Somebody told me one time or another that through the support group that they had MetLife disability, and MetLife's forms were complicated, and that's I guess is when the doctor felt charges. Well, I went on my 4th post-op visit because that's what they kind of month, almost to the month, which it was the 12th. So I had a couple more days to go, and they filled out my continuation form, so it had a couple more days to my disability. So you can always do continuation claim forms. I think that's what they call it, continuation disability, until you go back to work. Now, AFLAC told me, because this happened to my gastric bypass, the employer put a return date sooner than the doctor did, which they told me they really don't look at the employer's form when you return to work. They look at the doctor when that can tell you when to return to work. But of course, I'm just speaking as for AFLAC, things like that. My policy pays for sickness and injury with a 7-day elimination period. So from day 1, for instance, my day 1 was the 13th of November, which is a Wednesday. So they start paying on the 8th day of the but regardless how much pay time off you had and things like that. So it was all good with that. Now, of course, disability pay is never 100% of your pay that you get with your employer. That's the downfall from that. But at least it's something than nothing. And somebody did ask me if I'm going to do a video about getting your pennyconectomy covered by your insurance company. I am going to do a video about that because it's kind of long and lengthy on how to do that. You do have to get your documentation in order, and I'll tell you how you do that and send it off to the insurance company yourself in the meantime before you get to your plastic surgeon and things like that. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. I will talk to you later, and I hope everybody have a Merry Christmas, a safe Christmas, and Happy New Year's.